Hi, I'm Jennifer Lepore, Online Education Manager here at Artist Network TV, and I want to thank everybody for being here with us today and for having this chance with Chris Hart to present all about Chris Hart to you guys there at home. So thank you for being here, Chris.
Thank you.
We've been in the studio with Chris for the past few days, and we've been working on drawing videos, drawing people, drawing figures, and drawing heads, as well as drawing dogs, a whole bunch of different dogs, anatomy, poses, you name it, expressions, fun stuff.
You didn't leave anything out. That's a lot of stuff.
Got it all.
Yes.
Okay, good. So I did notice in the time that you've been here, even when you're not drawing on camera, you're drawing.
Yes.
So have you always done that? Like, did you get born drawing? How did you get started?
Well, like many of your viewers, I'm sure, I drew from the beginning. I enjoyed drawing. I liked it. I thought it was like any other activity. There was football, there was drawing, there were comics, there was TV. Drawing was just part of everything. But it was when I was around 12 years old that suddenly I got kind of this bug, and I decided to give it a try to improve. And I got a bunch of how to draw books, and I poured through them like they were, they were my Bible, And by the time I was 13, I had a classmate of mine, a guy named Michael Horowitz, who I'm still very close friends with, but he was a cartoonist. He was better than I was. And we became these, I had to improve to get as good as Michael, and we were like fighting left and right to try to best each other, and we ended up being very close friends, still today. And so Michael, you actually started me on this entire journey. It's your fault.
That's a great thing to have somebody to just like keep rising your level.
That's right, yeah.
Raising your level. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he was very, very talented, and so I mean, it's good to have somebody like that. If you're an artist, to have somebody who's in the same field to kick around ideas, and that way they tend to be more sensitive to with criticism. They give you the helpful criticism because they're not competing with you, but they're seeing something, and they say, hey, you left something out here. And that's a useful way to criticize.
Mm-hmm. And did you go to school for drawing or any sort of artwork?
I did. I went to Cal Arts for a while, and I quit Cal Arts because I didn't want to go into, we were all doing a lot of animating. And it's very tedious work. It's 12 drawings for a second of motion.
Wow.
And, you don't want to come home at the end of the day and go, oh, I created 8 seconds. So and I quit there. I went to NYU Film School, from which I graduated, and then I also supplemented my art education at the Pear School of Arts and Silvermine School of Arts. So I've gotten some of this and some of that, and I think the art education certainly helps the drawing, as well as self-learning, which I know your viewers are doing as well. Mm-hmm. And the NYU Film School, I used to write in film and for a lot of magazines, but it also helps me think in terms of beginning, middle, and end, and introducing things, and almost a story to each book. So it's like a little adventure, my how to draw books. We start here, we kind of tackle certain things, we get to this promised land of scenes and things and everything together, and putting everything together at the end. And so I think it all ends up giving me a nice view of a flow to the books, the material.
Mm-hmm. And mentioning books, you have like over 3 million copies sold of your books.
Yes, and I don't know how my mother bought 2.5 million copies herself. I just don't, where she got the money for that, I don't know. But yes, I have, and I'm very grateful. Thank you, but I'm actually very grateful that I've done that, and thankful to my viewers and my readers who made it possible. And it's an interaction. I think I may hear from them, and I write back. I think the authors who have done well, who don't have time for their readers, should question themselves a little bit. How'd you get here?
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that I can do this for a living is wonderful, and I owe it to them.
And how did you decide that you were going to even be an author in the first place?
Well, I had done some animation character designs and storyboards for a small animation studio in San Diego, California, which I really loved doing. And I had been in cartooning and writing for cartoons, Mad Magazine and other places for a while. I wrote for Lampoon when it was in business, And so there was someone at my publisher who knew that I was doing cartoons and liked my cartoons, and asked me if I would come over there and do their first book on cartooning. They had wanted to depart a little from oil and watercolor and all that kind of stuff, and try something a little more in the popular arts. And it did really well for them. Matter of fact, it has sold over 200,000 copies, my first book, and it still sells. And so they asked me to do another and another, and all of a sudden we had some series going, and I thought, this is not bad, I mean, it was such a kick early on, and it still is, to go to a bookstore and look on the shelf, and there you are, It's, but also it's tough because sometimes you'll be in a bookstore, you see someone buying someone else's book, and you're like, no, you don't understand.
Here's one that you will really like, and I'll sign it.
But there are lots of good books, lots of good authors, and I think that everyone should make use of the type of book and type of author that speaks to you personally, because if you assimilate the information well, it's more important in a certain way than getting the right information. If you get the right information, the person's not a good teacher, what are you going to do with it? So you're the judge.
Yeah, that's a good point. And as far as the books and the teaching that you have out there, I know that you've done everything from realistic drawing, whether it's like chairs and tables, like still life objects, to realistic animals, to manga, to figures, whether they're cartooned or the manga or the realistic. So that's really neat. Do you have a favorite style or subject?
It's hard because, I get excited by all of them. I actually get inspired by them. And that's why I don't do books that I don't really like and say, oh, this is good. They'd like to see this, I get excited for what my readers might like. But as far as my drawing personally, I've enjoyed stretching in different directions. I come from a cartooning background and an animation background. So it's much easier for me in a certain way in that, that's just what I know. But it gave me but in animation, you have to really know the form because it's got to move and it's got to maintain its recognizability from pose to pose to pose to pose all over the place. So it gave me a sort of solid foundation, I think, for being able to draw different styles because I look at the form before I look at the style. But there's some great manga out there, great fantasy out there, and the figure drawing is also very important to me. And, and there are other things I discover along the way.
Okay, so do you have any new directions that you're going? Any new styles that you're working on?
Yes, I do. I have some new styles and some new material and some new approaches to things that I think will be very helpful. And also, I'm more online these days, more of a presence online. That's expanding with videos on YouTube and some art communities on the web and other things like that.
Oh, that's really exciting. And I want to just wrap up with the question that's just been burning at all of us, something that we've all been wondering and wanting to ask.
Yeah.
Who won?
Oh, you mean the burst blood vessel here?
Oh, yeah.
Well, all I can say is you should have seen the other guy. Just benign, nothing here.
Oh, well, thank you so much. You've been just really fun and just such an exuberant personality to have around. And we hope that you'll come back. I hope everybody gets a chance to check out your videos on the drawing animals, drawing figures, and who knows what's going to come next. So we're excited to find out, too.
Hopefully something good. I'll be working on it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.